Fox Soul challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Sheriff's Office maintenance worker 33-year-old Sterling Williams has been booked on 10 charges of principal to escape or helping inmates escape and 1 count of malfeasance in office. Here's a photo we actually just got into the newsroom from the Attorney General's office of 33-year-old Sterling Williams. Here it is here. Again, you can see his charges there. Court documents from sources say Williams told investigators that Antoine Massey, one of the inmates involved in this escape, according to investigators, he apparently told investigators that Massey threatened to shank him if he did not turn off water.
In this round, here's Quan LX.
Charles, a very strange and dangerous incident took place last week in New Orleans, Louisiana, and many were shocked to see that 10 inmates escaped the county jail facility in New Orleans. Not 2, not 1 or 3, but 10 inmates. They've captured a few, but there's still a number of them still on the loose. And according to law enforcement out of the state of Louisiana, they are considered armed and dangerous. And these are violent criminals. And they even made mockery, leaving a message on the wall above the exit route that they built, the tunnel they built to escape, left a message making mockery of law enforcement. I really do not believe that something of this magnitude on this level could have been done without some type of inside help.
Well, I mean, we just saw that there's been a man charged, and the man is using the coercion defense. At least that was his explanation, and I would imagine his lawyers would trot that out, that he was threatened, his life was threatened, and he didn't have a choice. It seems like there's video evidence that somewhat contradicts it, but let's talk about the situation. The last I saw of the people remaining scurrying around New Orleans, you had 4 murderers, an attempted murderer, and a serial assaulter and rapist who had a prior escape way back in 2007. It is that rapist who the jail employee is identifying as the person that threatened his life and forced him, coerced him under the threat of death to assist them in their escape. But let's not put all the blame on this one man, right? There was supposed to be a civilian jail technician, they called him, who was getting food. The law enforcement officer for the pod was not present at the time. The pod is the subgroup of the wing of the jail.
And how many in that pod, and why would only one officer be in charge?
Well, because they have for quite a while been at 60% employment at the jail. So they're woefully understaffed housing. So New Orleans is one of the most violent cities in America, and obviously there's a level of corruption. New Orleans is also notorious for paying both law enforcement and public officials so little that corruption spreads like wildfire.
But remember, Charles, this is the same correctional jail facility in New Orleans that I believe they were making videos with inmates holding guns. Inmates had cell phones, and they were FaceTiming and making hip-hop rap videos with actual real guns inside the jail. And there was a serious call for a serious investigation, even on a federal level. So how is it the same jail where they got actual street guns inside the jail, making rap videos with these guns, then you turn around a couple of years later, 10 escape at one time? That's unheard of. This has to reek, in my opinion, of some type of internal help, some type of internal corruption to turn a blind eye for them to do this at this level.
I mean, this is exactly what I'm saying.
And guess what? Nobody's lost a job yet.
Well, yes,
not a single person been fired.
Someone just got arrested for it. He's lost his job.
We talking about the chief of police, the captain of the jail, the head of the jail, the people that worked at the jail. How in the hell could something like this happen? And y'all just had guns in the jail and nobody losing their jobs.
We're talking about New Orleans, the same city that hired an elderly woman from the Pacific Northwest to take over their police department, who was completely clueless when they had a terrorist attack in the city just about a year ago. I mean, this is a city that underfunds, that puts identity politics ahead of public safety, and has grossly underfunded public services for
Now, why do you
decades.
say identity politics? New Orleans is a black city. What do you mean identity
I'm
politics?
sorry, well, they hired a white woman from the Pacific Northwest because they were looking for a female leader of their police
So
department.
you're saying that they
And
only hired her because she was a female?
No, I'm saying very clearly they didn't hire a qualified person, but they are a city that has decided that you've got to, and we've seen this. We saw Brandon Johnson make a bunch of crazy statements this weekend about how he likes to hire black people because they're a better race of people than everyone else. We've got to stop saying, hey, we're going to put identity politics first. We're going to put anything other than merit ahead of public service. And also you have New Orleans, a city that has vilified public service, vilified law enforcement, that treats law enforcement extremely poorly in that city, and they're incredibly underpaid, right? New Orleans has been underpaying the law enforcement for
But
years.
you're avoiding my question.
But I'm not avoiding your
How
question.
in the hell
That's
could
corruption.
10 inmates escape at one
eight
time
murderers.
and make mockery of you letting them get
Well,
loose?
that's
And
my
ain't
point.
nobody been fired?
Okay, that's my
Nobody's
point.
fired?
Because it is rife for corruption, because they are so deeply, desperately underpaid that there's plenty of avenue, and this is nothing new. There's been tons of corruption in both the New Orleans Police Department and the parish's sheriff's office.
Well, the state of
for
Louisiana
decades
has a deep-rooted history in corruption.
Right, well, New
all
Orleans
the way
set the
back to
curve.
Huey Long days.
No, I don't
Before I was
disagree.
even born.
Okay.
So it's been known for that type of corruption in the entire state.
Right. Well, I mean, they've been known for horrible, evil stuff for a long time, and there's also a lot of beauty and natural beauty and beautiful culture there. And I mean, New Orleans used to be thought of as the most European, stylistically cities in America. There's great old architecture. There's a lot of wonderful stuff. But we've got to the point there is crime in New Orleans is so bad that it's just ignored and not spoken of, right? The violent crime, and really when we talk about it,
But if
it's
you're at
often framed.
60%.
Hold on, it's all you're 60% staffing, but we often.
I mean, that's almost half of your force. You're lacking
it's
half of your
disgusting.
force.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
much
that,
crime can
that
you really fight?
Americans, well, I mean, I agree, but they're not fighting crime. There's all these no-go zones in New Orleans. I love the city, but here's the thing. What we talk about in America, usually when you have conservatives talking about it, right? They're framing it as in, white America is besieged by black crime. And when you have liberals talking about it, there's this myth of we should just ignore crime because that's somehow reform. But who suffers the most in New Orleans from the horrible tide of crime? It's overwhelmingly the impoverished, rule-following, law-abiding black Americans,
Yeah, but
black
that's common
Louisianans.
sense.
Right, but it's not something ever
Because
addressed, right?
because it's an overwhelming black city.
But it's-
so that's common sense.
but
that
even
that most would
cities that
suffer
aren't overwhelming,
from crime
but it's not
would
even-
be black people.
No.
I understand that.
Let's say Houston, the most diverse city in this country, right? Where we filmed this show, where we both lived for decades, right? Who suffers the most from crime and who is ignored the most by those that talk about crime? Law-abiding,
people.
rule-following black
Poor
people.
people.
But it's
Poor people.
overwhelmingly the victims
In the
are
city of
law-abiding.
Houston,
These murders,
crime,
all murdered black people.
But remember, in poor areas, in economically disadvantaged poor areas, in every city in America, in every rural county in America, in every jurisdiction of America, where the poorest people live, the crime rates are the highest.
Right.
So we
Well,
cannot
no, that's
pretend
actually not
that
true.
poverty does
No.
not play a role in
Poverty
crime
does play
rates.
a role.
Of course it does.
Poverty plays a role, but what has been absolutely established is that race plays a larger role for whatever reason.
I don't believe that.
I know, because you don't believe
I don't
in
believe
data.
that race plays a role in who commits crimes. I don't believe that race plays a role in
it's
criminal activity.
Absolutely, no, I don't think
But if
race
one
plays
race
a role.
of people were
but-
put in poverty
Hold on.
and segregated in poverty
You're missing
and
my
denied
point.
opportunity,
You're missing my
denied
point.
resources, and flooded with drugs and guns, of course they're going to have a high crime rate more than anybody else.
So we agree, right?
I agree that no guns are manufactured in poor black areas.
Okay,
I
we
agree
didn't
black
even
folks
talk
don't
about
own
it.
no ships, no planes to
Okay.
bring dope across the border and methamphetamine across the
Okay.
borders. So
That's
black
it.
folk are flooded
That's
with
it.
dope, flooded with guns,
there-
but we don't have
there-
no apparatus
there-
whatsoever to get
again-
access to these things to bring it
again,
in.
First of all, it's horribly bigoted to say that black people don't own planes and
To-
boats.
to
because
import dope?
I know plenty
To
of them
import
that do.
dope?
But
No, sir.
But here's the thing: right? You're missing my point. You're trying to make this a racist point.
No, you started that.
No.
You brought race up.
Again, because it's important when you look at the context of crime in America, especially in New Orleans, right? It plays a huge role. But I am not at all saying that skin color defines an aptitude for criminality. Instead, what I'm saying is that in America, like Louisiana, okay, the great state of Louisiana that has struggled with its racist past and its embrace of slavery and its embrace of the Klan for centuries, right? When it was French, when it was owned by France before it even became
sold
part
to
of
America by Napoleon.
Okay. But here's the thing, right? So white racists will say, yeah, you know, black crime, right? Black fatigue, whatever. And then black racists will just pretend it's not a problem, right? Or blame Whitey for it, like you just did, all this and that and the other.
No, you brought race
no,
up.
hold on, because it's important.
And you
in this
tried to
context.
compare race to the problem of crime in New Orleans.
And again, if you would ever just not interrupt every
but
time.
don't pretend like you didn't make the connection first, then blame me for pointing out the correction.
Here's the problem. When you interrupt someone halfway through every sentence they say, you never hear the whole context. Race!
No, Charles,
okay,
you
the
brought
truth
race
is,
up,
yeah,
my
I
man.
did, to make this point, right? Who suffers the worst from criminal violence in this country?
The poor people.
And who is underserved the worst?
The poor people.
No, it's black Americans of all classes.
Charles,
they suffer the worst from crime.
And of all
and the
classes,
loudest voices like you
Charles,
don't talk
and
about,
of
hey,
all
how
classes,
about all these rule-following, law-abiding black people that are suffering because they don't have good police?
We love them. But Charles, who is it that put black people in the ghetto and denied them resources, denied them finances, denied them opportunities, pull out all of the jobs in the industries, and then flood their communities like the CIA did in California and the West Coast, bringing in crack cocaine to be sold for guns to fight a South American war.
I know
so, Charles, let's not pretend like black people did this to themselves.
Okay, I'm not. Okay, and in fact.
So who did it then?
Okay, you are.
Some racist, wicked white folk in America. That's who did it.
Whitey bad. But
that's
the
the facts,
is,
Charles.
That this is a perfect example of my point. You are roadblocking conversations about solutions.
No, I'm not letting you
by
hide behind them.
screaming about Whitey. All right. The truth is that what we need solutions today. And there are millions of law-abiding black Americans. We see these prank videos where a kid takes an empty PlayStation box and walks through a black neighborhood. They're all over social media right now. And invariably, over and over and over and over again, the kid is robbed. He is beaten, whether it's a backpack full of fake money or a PlayStation is taken from him. And this is the lived experience of so many black Americans. And then
some similar
loud black
in
American
white
voices
neighborhoods
like
too,
yours.
where black people go to a park and the police are called on them, but they live in the neighborhood. Where black people go to a swimming pool and they're kicked out of the swimming pool and they still live in that neighborhood.
It just happened to Ricky Williams.
So let's not pretend
I'm not
like
pretending
white
about
folk
anything.
don't have similar behavior in affluent white neighborhoods in mistreating black people.
Not my point, right? What I want is more say. We just saw Ricky Williams, famous UT football player, going to the Tyler Rose celebration in Tyler for Earl Campbell. And look what happened. He went for a walk.
Famous Tyler Police Department.
Apparently he walked through an area that was not public, and he picked up somebody's tape measure, and somebody called the police, and he walked back, and they treated him horribly, right? But that is not what most black Americans who are suffering from crime, that's not the experience they're suffering.
So take
my
rural
point
areas
is
like
that
West Virginia.
we need to have solutions.
But take rural areas like West Virginia, Kentucky, areas like that.
A fraction of the crime.
No, that's not true.
It's
that's
absolutely
not
true.
That is not true.
A small fraction of the crime.
If you take a black community with the same numbers as a rural white community in West Virginia
have a fraction
and Kentucky,
of the crime.
with the same exact
You're
numbers,
making this
the
up.
crime
You're
levels
lying
are the
again.
same. Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Charles.
They're absolutely not.
The most drug overdose in America.
You are.
The most drug overdose in America are white people.
I am talking
Charles,
about violent crime.
The fentanyl epidemic are white people.
I don't disagree.
The methamphetamine epidemic in America is primarily white people.
That's
Charles.
the only reason America started caring about
so
it.
let's not
because it was white
black
suburban
folk is the
housewives
face of
doing
crime
cocaine
in
and
America.
I am not talking about drug use. I'm talking about victim crime, and I'm talking about protecting black Americans
poverty,
from victim
Charles.
crime. It's not poverty.
It's
In
tied
fact, the
directly to
data
poverty,
says
Charles.
it's not.
Any
it's horrible.
impoverished area is going to have a high crime rate.
Okay,
Charles.
they're going to have a higher crime rate, but it's not, it in no way matches the victimization of black Americans. And activists like you roadblock and shut down conversations of why we need better police. New Orleans needs better paid police. They need more police. They need to celebrate police.
But it's
they need
white
police
men like
transparency.
yourself
They need
that
police
want to address
oversight.
the symptoms
Okay,
and never deal with the root cause.
You're right.
You love addressing the symptoms, but you never want to address the root cause.
I want murderers
deal with the
not
root
walking
cause.
out of prison.
Let's deal with the root
I
cause
wanna
of
help.
this.
No, this is just
You
just
like
want
the
money.
symptoms, but not the
No,
root cause,
you don't want any
Charles.
solutions that don't
No,
get you paid.
but I want solutions
That's
that
the
deal with the
problem
root
modern
cause.
America.
I was a quarterback at Nottoway High School. College first round draft pick during the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband.
We have to redefine what being a strong man is.
And heal, love your mind.
Ready to lose track of time the best way possible?
Rolling!
From the funniest videos to the wildest things online, we do the scrolling so you don't have to.
It's Usher. He had that synthetic hair melting. You hear me? Why y'all talking about that lady hair like that? Ain't he alone?
Catch us every weeknight, 7 p.m. Central on Fox Soul.
Louder for the people in the back.
Well, on Fox Face-Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face-Off
We are given the platform here with no fear.
always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And shut the
neighborhoods
hell
go,
up.
"You
and
interrupt
let
me all
speak
the
to my
time."
people.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face-Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
I be one two stepping down the street. This freedom look too good on me.
As many of you are seeing black folks celebrate the burning down of the Nottoway Plantation in Louisiana. No one should ever get married at a plantation. Getting married at a plantation is the equivalency of getting married at Auschwitz.
Somebody's going to be walking away from this with a very large payout for a building that was technically never paid for to begin with.
This you can bear. You should let it burn.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
All right, Quanell, that was a series of clips of people celebrating the burning of what was the largest still standing antebellum plantation. Also, we've done now 2 Louisiana subjects in Louisiana, in Iberville Parish, it's sat on the Mississippi River. I've been there once, a magnificent structure, but also an incredibly horrible structure. It was purchased just last year by someone named, a lawyer in Louisiana named Dan Dias, who apparently owns also the Steel Magnolias house, if you remember that movie, and I think Natchitoches, Louisiana, in northern Louisiana. It has transferred hands many times from the original owner, who before the war, and somehow it survived being, a lot of plantations were burnt down and destroyed during the Civil War. But prior to emancipation and the Civil War, It had 155 people enslaved. It was the enslaved who helped build the structure and to maintain it for quite some time. It was still, and surprisingly, shockingly, like prior to its destruction, on the website there was no mention of, and apparently, the facility did not in any way platform the horrible history of this giant mansion built literally on the backs of the enslaved. Obviously, there are people celebrating it. I initially thought, oh my goodness, somebody went and burnt it down. It does appear that it was an electrical fire in an attic in one of the wings.
God is good.
And right, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't somebody that's going to look at because of the valuation was probably in the millions and millions of dollars. I'm saying like the insurance cost. Like if someone were to have committed the arson because of the antiques that were inside and all that.
Antiques?
Yeah, there were a bunch of, apparently he was an antique collector, the guy that just bought it.
I wouldn't give a damn if he was the world's greatest antique collector. That is nothing more than a house of death, destruction, misery, exploitation, sex trafficking, child abuse, and absolute what took place was genocide on that plantation.
I don't disagree.
Let's just be straight. So when you talk about the value of it, if someone had burned it down, I would have no problem with it at all. In fact, it should have been burnt down a long time ago. I like the Frankie Beverly one because that Frankie Beverly one was jamming. That was all right. I really liked that version of it. But Charles, look, man, they shouldn't get a dime from this plantation.
I mean, if they've
and in fact,
it,
I would encourage black people, go and trace your ancestors if you can back to this plantation. And if you're able to do something and find your ancestry to that plantation, sue the estate owners of it for ownership of the entire plantation.
I mean,
don't let them make a dime off the suffering and the evil that racist, wicked plantation owners did to black people there. No, if you can trace your heritage back to it, you got a claim because there's no statute of limitation on murder and death.
Okay, actually, there is a statute of
Not on
limitation
murder.
for claims. Louisiana is based on the Napoleonic Code, and you're talking about a criminal prosecution versus a civil suit. And so this lawyer apparently just bought it in November.
But wait a minute, Bill Cosby can then get that favor.
Okay,
they've tried him for rapes 40 and 50 years ago.
Well,
but all of a sudden now we got a statute of limitation. Oh, hell no.
Okay, well, the person that owned it during the times of slavery has been dead for a long time.
It's called theft by receiving.
Okay, we're talking about, I think it's been purchased like 10 or 15 times since
well then we go all back through the history. Get everybody who ever made a dime off of it. Put them in the name, put them in the lawsuit also.
And look, that sounds nice. That's not how the law works.
Oh, trust me. We know about white law in America. They would change the rules in the middle of the game to fix it for themselves.
I mean, uniquely, in Louisiana, it is based on, the other 49 states are all based on the common law, which you like to refer to as white law. Louisiana is based on the Napoleonic Code, the French statutory-based law, and it has a very different legal system. But either way, let's not give wrong legal advice to people, non-lawyer.
I'm not giving you legal. Look here. Let me tell you something.
I mean,
it's called reparations. You can sue that estate for reparations.
Okay, no, you can't.
I tell you what.
But
he knows slick lawyers. You can find you one. Sue him for reparations.
But again, I don't think anyone other than the owner is shedding a tear. And I was a bit shocked to read that there was no effort to teach the history of the horrors.
They whitewashed it.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, Come on, man, let's split a ride home.
Ready to lose track of time the best way possible?
Rolling!
From the funniest videos to the wildest things online, we do the scrolling so you don't have to.
It's Usher. He had that synthetic hair melting. You hear me? Why y'all talking about that lady hair like that? Ain't he alone?
Catch us every weeknight, 7 p.m. Central on Fox Soul.
Louder for the people in the back.
I was a quarterback at Nottoway High School, college first round draft pick. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband.
We have to redefine what being a strong man is
And heal, love your mind.
That's it for the Face-Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.
Ready to lose track of time the best way possible?
Rolling!
From the funniest videos to the wildest things online, we do the scrolling so you don't have to.
It's Usher. He had that synthetic hair melting. You hear me? Why y'all talking about that lady hair like that? Ain't he alone?
Catch us every weeknight, 7 p.m. Central on Fox Soul.
Louder for the people in the back.
Well, on Fox Face-Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face-Off
We are given the platform here with no fear.
always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And
Shut the
neighbors,
hell up
you
and
interrupt
let
me all the
speak to my
time.
people.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face-Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices.
Like your text-to-emoji ratio.
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
I was a quarterback at Nottoway High School, college first round draft pick. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband.
We have to redefine what being a strong man is
And heal, love your mind.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love your mind.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices.
Like your text-to-emoji ratio.
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
Ready to lose track of time the best way possible?
Rolling!
From the funniest videos to the wildest things online, we do the scrolling so you don't have to.
It's Usher. He had that synthetic hair melting. You hear me? Why y'all talking about that lady hair like that? Ain't he alone?
Catch us every weeknight, 7 p.m. Central on Fox Soul.
Louder for the people in the back.
Tonight on The Factor, a bar owner speaks out after his arrest. City investigators say he failed to maintain health standards at his business. But is there more to this story? The Factor exclusive is coming your way in moments. Plus, a report says Houston is one of the biggest hotspots in Texas for STD infections and new cases of HIV. How does this affect people on the dating scene? We talk about it tonight.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Tonight, an exclusive. A Houston bar owner says he spent 2 days in jail for having bugs in his business. We met with that business owner on Washington Avenue who says he feels like he is being targeted by the city. Let's take